Hi, and welcome back for another great recipe. Today I'm going to be sharing a simple strawberry shortcake made from a boxed cake. So let's get started. So what I have here is a box of yellow cake mix from Betty Crocker. You could also use white cake mix. I like the flavor of the yellow cake better. And let me walk you through the rest of the ingredients. We have half a cup of oil. You want to use a neutral oil. I'm going to use coconut oil here. Melted vegetable oil would also work. I have 3 eggs, and it also asks for 1 cup of water. That will be the base layer, which is our cake. Then instead of frosting, we're going to actually put 2 layers of Cool Whip. And you could also use any kind of whipping cream you have, or you can make it homemade. That would be great too. I'm trying to show you a really easy, simple version, which is where you get the Cool Whip already pre-made and whipped up in a box. And this is more shelf stable than if you whipped it up yourself. So that's another great convenient hack. And then into the layers of the Cool Whip, we're also going to put in some sliced strawberries. I tasted these strawberries and they were just not that sweet. So to it, after I slice them, I'm going to add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of sugar. You could also add honey. It's optional, but if your strawberries are not super sweet, you may want to add a little bit of a sweetener. I'm also going to use just regular butter to grease my 2 8-inch pans. You could also do it with a cooking spray oil or grease them with Crisco, whatever you got. I like the flavor of butter, and it also browns the bottom of the cake nicely. So I'm just using regular softened butter at room temperature for that. And then an extra little element I'm adding to it, which I haven't done in past versions of this recipe, is I'm going to puncture some holes just with a little bit of a skewer stick, and over those holes I'm going to pour in this condensed milk. It's really sweet, and I'm hoping it'll give it a really nice like almost a tres leches moist cake texture. Here I am buttering the 8-inch round pans, and you could also do it in a 9-inch pan, but then the temperature, not the temperature, but the time in the oven will be a little different. You could also do it in a 13x9 or a bundt cake pan as well. Dumping all of the batter mix in, adding that cup of water, half a cup of the oil, and 3 eggs. And it actually says to either mix it with an electric mixer or by hand vigorously for 2 minutes. So I'm really not looking to whip out the whole mixing equipment, so I'm just going to do it by hand for 2 minutes and speed it up for viewers. The batter is fully mixed, and I'm dividing it into my 2 pans. If you had larger pans, as I said before, you would just do it at a different time. I'm gonna leave them in for 26 minutes and check at that point. The box says anywhere between 26 to 31 minutes. Now I'll work on the strawberries. These I'm going to slice into thin slices, making sort of like a heart shape. And I'm also going to add sugar to this. So as I was slicing the strawberries, I was thinking about a lot of other recipes that use fresh strawberries. So if you don't particularly like strawberry shortcake, there's so many other ways to use fresh strawberries. Some examples are strawberry tiramisu, which is a variation on a traditional tiramisu. I've also found variations of tres leches cake with strawberries. Also a cake called pavlova is also a cake with fresh berries, including strawberries, and it has a custard filling and a nice meringue crunchy crust on the outside. So you can also use the shortcake. Any leftovers from this cake, you could use it in an ice cream sundae by kind of chopping it up and mixing it in with vanilla ice cream or into an ice cream cone in layers. So you could do, you know, a little bit of vanilla ice cream and like a waffle cone, a layer of the shortcake and strawberries, another layer of vanilla ice cream, and so on. So I'm pouring on the sugar and I'm going to let it sit for those 26 minutes and let the strawberries kind of sweeten through. It also adds a little bit of extra sweetness to the entire cake. The layers were done in 26 minutes exactly. They look great, and I'm going to let them come to room temperature before working with them. So I decided to flip the cake layers out onto a big baking sheet, because if we're going to pour some of that condensed milk over it, some of it might either spill or sink through the cake. So I decided to use this, but you could just do it on a plate as well, or you could do it on a cutting board. I thought this would be easy. Me just rubbing the spatula around the edge of that cake made it come out really nicely, and as you can see, the bottoms are nicely browned, and I believe that's because I used butter. And now I'm poking the holes in through the dull side of the skewer, and over it I'm going to pour only about half of that can. So not overdo it, but again, do it to your liking. Condensed milk is really, really sweet. It's almost like a sugar syrup, and I don't want to overdo it. So I'm going to save the other half in an airtight container, because after you open a can of condensed milk, you should refrigerate it afterwards. Don't put it back in your pantry. I'm going to smear it around with the spatula and let the cake absorb that condensed milk. You could leave this overnight in the fridge, but I kind of want to finish this cake in the same day, so I'm going to let it sit for about 20 minutes and check on it then. So after 20 minutes, the condensed milk really got absorbed. You can't really see the white, so now we're ready to add in our layer of Cool Whip. And it is melty a little bit because the cake is still warm, so ideally I probably should have put the cake in the fridge to get super cold, but it will go right straight into the fridge as soon as I'm done layering it. So the Cool Whip will then stay nice and cold and firm. So the first layer is Cool Whip, and then I'm pushing the strawberries into the Cool Whip, because if you don't really push them in or leave them too chunky, they tend to kind of fall out after you slice the cake, and they kind of fall out as you're eating it. So I wanted to avoid that, but I also wanted enough of the red color to show through and through the size of the cake as well. Because if you chop it too finely, you kind of only just see the white Cool Whip. So this is really pretty, and that's our first layer. And I will repeat the same thing with the second layer. I'm only going to do 2 layers here, so this is our final layer. So Cool Whip and more strawberries. And if you didn't happen to have enough strawberries, or you had other berries on hand, putting some raspberries or blueberries in the middle, or blackberries, would also be really nice on this cake. And it's such a pretty cake, and it can be used for so many different occasions. I was just thinking that it doesn't necessarily have to be just a cake for the weekend. It can be something served on Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, because, you know, it's got the red color. It can be an anniversary cake. I think I might make this again for Mother's Day as well, for myself. And for 4th of July, if you add blueberries, then you've got your red, white, and blue, and you could put in some, you know, decorative sticks in there, like flags or whatever, fireworks, to commemorate the occasion. And this would be great as a birthday cake as well. So this is the final layered cake. I love that it's so vibrant, and it just tastes so sweet yet fresh and light, because the Cool Whip, again, is not as heavy as a traditional frosting. So I really recommend this recipe. I hope you try it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Thanks for watching.